Hello to whoever's watching this. So for my first takeaway on the third chapter was Lore's, explanation of the barrier to get into the food industry in these main grocery stores. On page 128, he says, if you try to sell to them, get your baby in their stores, you'll find each runs on its own DNA, uses a different network of wholesalers and truckers, employers, and different types of buyers. And he really enforces this with Julie's story on her salsa, and how she had to go through all these hoops, getting the yellow dye out of her salsa, and going through all these meetings and running out of money, and showing us just how difficult it is as a small company to get your food into these big main stores. And really, it's really interesting. And now for my second takeaway is Lore's influence, like his explanation on the influence of buyers and their marketing strategies that they use when looking for new products, right? He says on page 134 that just over 20,000 new products hit the shelf each year, and 89% of those fail within 18 months. And then he goes on to say on page 135, when he's talking about the buyers, he says that they simply demand a payment from the young entrepreneurs who come to his office in exchange for putting their items on his shelf. The entrepreneurs are desperate, they are probably already leveraged, and so what is a little more debt to them? They also have no hope of return if their item is not on the shelf, and if every buyer in the industry begins to do the same thing, they really have no choice. So there he's talking about how the buyers are taking advantage of the small companies, right? And how, just reinforcing the idea that the barrier of entry is super high, super hard. And tying back to the whole course, with sustainability, really we get a whole monopoly of these big organizations who are taking control of the grocery industry, and they're making these high processed foods, and with a bunch of fats and sugars, and making them so that they work against our influences as people. And this directly affects the consumer and our country, as seen as with the obesity rates as high as they are. And when we go to the grocery store, the marketing strategies they use to get our children and to get people in general to focus on certain products is truly crazy. And thank you so much for listening.